Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I realized I've been running late the last 2 days, and I all of a sudden I realized it's because the time change. I usually, my eyes spring open at 2:30, and I start preparing a video for you guys. And this morning I woke up and it was almost 3, so I've been rushing. My hair's still wet, rushing to get in front of this camera. Okay, a lot of days I have second thoughts about the videos I make because what I call this my confessional. I get in front of this camera and everything I tell you guys, I swear on the Bible, everything I tell you guys is 100% true from my heart. I never sat in front of this camera and knowingly said anything that I didn't believe 100% in my heart. And a lot of days later, I'm like, geez, should I have said? A lot of times I'll get in front of this camera and I'll tell you guys things that I have never told another living soul ever. And today's going to be one of those days. I was going to do a video. I found a story about Sarah Huckabee Sanders wanting kids as young as 12, 13, or 14 to go to work in Arkansas. They're passing laws. I was going to ask you guys too. Would you rather have, if you have a 12-year-old, because I don't have any kids, would you rather have your kid see a drag queen story hour or go to work in a meat packing plant, at 12 or 13 years old? Also, there's a link down below for a representative from John Kennedy from Louisiana. Remember when the Republicans got all incensed? They started yelling that Joe Biden was a liar. Remember that? When he said something about how they want to do away with Social Security? Well, they don't want to do away with it, really. They just want to work you on your feet till you're dead. There's a link right down below where you'll see him say this. He says, does it really make sense for people in their 20s right now, if their life expectancy is 77, does it really make sense that we allow them to retire at 62? This is what he says. Yeah, and I thought too, he's being a little disingenuous because I'm pretty sure life expectancy after the last 3 years is below 77, and if I'm not mistaken, the retirement age is not 62. I think it was 62 when Social Security started back in the 50s or in the 60s. I'm pretty sure the retirement age is like 67 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So again, we have a Republican lying, being disingenuous, and twisting the numbers. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that the life expectancy might have gone down from 77, and I'm pretty damn sure that the retirement age is not 62 years old. I'm not mistaken, it's 65 or 67. Okay, so I was going to talk about this, and I started thinking about my first job, okay? I was a paper boy. I started working as a paper boy at 14. I loved this job. I was dying to get a paper boy job because they had, when I was 14 in 1980, the paper boy jobs were sought after. And they had to be handed from one person to another. Like one guy would give his buddy the paper route, or his little brother the paper route. And I inherited. I talked to like a couple of guys to give me their paper routes, and I consolidated a big, huge, like 5 or 6 routes into one big route. And I was making good money back in 1980. I was probably making almost $100, about $80 a week, which is, for a 14-year-old in 1980, was good money. Okay, this is where it gets weird. I made a video, and I'm going to download this video. I haven't downloaded it yet because it was about guilt. It's about guilt about being what happened to me when I was younger, about being assaulted by my mother's boyfriend, being sexually molested from the age of 11 or 12 till I was 15 years old. And I made this video about the guilt because I was watching the show Intervention. And I realized almost every person with addiction problems has this background, and how this guilt eats at you. You feel it was your fault. And I thought about how I've never really talked about how it went on until I was 15 years old. Because I thought at 15 years old, I should have, it was like I was complicit. But no, I was still a kid. I never told anybody this story. Never. This is the first time I've ever told a living soul this story. And these two stories are going to combine. You're going to see where I'm going with this. Okay. So I was making money. I wanted to buy a car, right? This guy that was molesting me was dating my mother. He was a cop. The Watertown, Connecticut cop. Pat Butler, his name was. And he heard that I wanted to buy a car, my mother told him. And he found a car for me to buy. And you know what? He was nice enough to buy it himself. He used his money to buy it from. This is a true story. It's a 1975 Charger, my first car. Bought when I was 14 years old. It sat in the yard until I was 16. I had it was $2,000. So I had $1,000 saved up in the bank. I used that, but I owed Pat, my mother's boyfriend, who was molesting me. I owed him $1,000, which is exactly what he wanted. I would give him $20 a week out of my paper route money every week to pay off the car. And I have never told another living soul this. This went on until I was 15 years old, until I paid off the car. He'd make little side deals with me. Well, if you show up at this time, you know, if you let this happen, I'll erase the $20 for this week. You won't owe me nothing. Swear to God. So that first car was bought by the person that was molesting me for molesting me each week. He subtracted $20 a week. And I've never told another living soul this, because I even to this age, at this age now, where I feel like I have my stuff together, I still felt guilty at 14, 15 years old that this was happening to me. I've told you guys before, I did put an end to it. I freaked out one day. He was in my bedroom. My mother wasn't home. And I've done videos on here where I was good at nunchucks, real good. Like I used them in actual altercations. And I just had enough. And I pulled him out. I said, this ain't happening. This is the end. And he laughed. And he came towards me. And I cocked back and I slammed him with it. And he laughed. It hit him good. Put his arm up, bam, hit him. And he laughed, and I just got enraged and just started swinging it. And it took out chunks of my ceiling. It was like the ceiling squares. My mother asked me later, what the heck happened to your ceiling? What did you do to your ceiling? And I had to make up a lie. I think I told her me and my friends were goofing around. I couldn't tell my mother that her boyfriend was trying to grab my private parts. So he would subtract $10 or $20. I think it was, some weeks it was 10. It depends how, his thing, I've never told anybody this either, but his thing was to service me. That was what he wanted to do, So I've never told anybody this before. He got off on that. And he would subtract $10 or $20. I think it was, if I came up twice a week, it was 20. If I showed up at his house on my bicycle. I'm going to do another video talking about guilt and how people like me and other people, women, guys, girls I've dated, carry this guilt with them, thinking that they should have done something. It's their fault. Somehow they brought this on themselves, even into my age. Even now, I sit here in front of you guys, and there's part of me that feels like it's my fault somehow. And this leads to addiction. That video will be coming today. I don't usually download 2 videos, but that video will be coming a little later today. You guys have a good Monday.